It is time to experience a different radio station in digital broadcasting WKIT. Pyramid One World Radio Network with broadcaster Bob Charles. Our programming is based on truth, faith, and love. We have studios in Florida, Texas, and Australia. So let's begin into subjects that change our perceptions about the world around you and I.
To a view of humanity with psychic Jamie Clark and friend and student Bob Charles, who will be your broadcaster on Pyramid One World Radio Network. Jamie says, celebrating your manifestations with the universe is a beautiful concept rooted in gratitude, mindfulness, and interconnectedness. Here's how you might approach it. Let me break this down for you. Acknowledge the manifestation. Take a moment to recognize and appreciate the manifestation that has occurred. Whether it's a goal achieved, a dream realized, or a desire fulfilled, give it the attention it deserves. Express gratitude. Gratitude is key to fostering a positive relationship with the universe. Express thanks for the manifestation, recognizing the role the universe played in bringing it to fruition. Connect with nature. Spend time outdoors, whether it's a walk in the park, a hike. Recognizing the role the universe played in bringing it to fruition. Connect with nature. Spend time outdoors, whether it's a walk in the park, a hike in the mountains, or simply sitting in your backyard. Feel the connection with the natural world around you and appreciate the beauty and abundance it offers. Practice mindfulness. Be present in the moment and fully experience the joy and fulfillment that comes with your manifestation. Let go of any worries or doubts and immerse yourself in the feeling of gratitude and contentment. Share the experience. Celebrate your manifestation with others. Share your joy and gratitude with friends, family, or your community. By spreading positivity and love, you amplify the energy of your manifestation and contribute to the collective consciousness. Give back. Pay it forward by giving back to the universe in whatever way feels right to you. This could involve acts of kindness, volunteering, or supporting causes that are meaningful to you. By giving back, you create a cycle of abundance and positivity that continues to manifest blessings in your life and beyond. Remember, people of the world and God, celebrating your manifestations with the universe is a deeply personal practice. Find what resonates with you and incorporate it into your own ritual or routine. Trust in the power of the universe to support you on your journey and continue to cultivate gratitude, mindfulness, and connection in everything you do. Now put your hands together and welcome Jamie Clark to Pyramid One World Radio.
I tell you, that stops. I mean, our internet around here is going absolutely berserk.
And
Crazy.
kind of tied.
We've got more coming in here than most places do. I mean, I got a pipeline coming in here. It's absolutely ridiculous. And not too far from us. And by the way, if you hear a jet going off later on, there's a Sun and Fun, which is connected to Linder International Airport, which is less than a mile away from here,
Wow, cool.
has all the Blue Angels and the whole 9 yards and everything. And sometimes they come over this house so close that this microphone shakes.
Wow. That's a little scary.
I mean, it's like, yeah, because I mean, when they come off the runway, it's like right over the roof of the house.
Yeah. And you get to be able to see that in the comfort of your own home.
Well, you look up in the air and you see the guy's butt. You know, it's like,
Wow.
hey, how you doing?
They are so amazingly talented. It is incredible.
I know some of them. I was down there and I just happened to bump into them all, you know. And like I said, I used to fly that a long time ago. So I'm asking the guys, you know, some questions, you know, about like what they're doing. Some of their patterns and everything else, I mean, are helped by a computer, you know, so that they don't like touch each other and stuff like that, you know, with the wind and stuff. And like it's like they have like a line in between each one of the planes. It's really cool the way they do it. But these guys are the coolest guys you'll ever meet in your life. They are so laid back. They are so nice and everything. I'm serious. I mean, they're just like really they're high on helium or something. I don't know.
You know, the cool thing is I've noticed for myself that almost all pilots have a really good vibe and constant casual energy. Like they don't freak out. I'm like, that is fantastic.
You know, I tell you, I was just talking to it like to Diane like a couple of days ago, and because we were talking about some of the things that when I used to fly, it was like the guy that I had as a trainer was one of those guys that fly those planes.
Wow.
That's why I was like, you know, connecting with these guys that, you know, do the Blue Angels and stuff. So, I mean, and the guy that was my trainer was also an ex-flyer and bomber in Vietnam.
Wow.
So you want to get into scary situations, like you're coming over net and you're dropping something or whatever net, and you got people shooting mortars at you.
Yeah. Huh.
Going over their head, you know. So like, you know, to anybody else that we'd be saying our heart is in our mouth because we're going to die, you know, one of those things. And he turned around, he goes, he never got in a plane thinking he was going to die.
Wow. And he didn't.
He didn't. No. And then he taught me, and that was very, very interesting. I mean, I think he went way further than he did with normal students. I mean, look, face it, when you're up in the air and a guy literally turns the motor off, you're up in the air. You're flying, right? You're like a couple of thousand feet up. And he goes, you just lost your motor. I said, oh, I turned, this is, we had a good rapport. I turned around to him and I go, well, go find it.
That's beautiful.
I was like dying. And he says to me, he says, what are you going to do? I said, land the damn thing, you idiot. You know, it's like, I remember it, man, because he turned around to me and he goes, that's not the right answer. And I was like, oh, okay.
And so what was the right answer?
You're supposed to find a place to land. You don't say you're going to land it because you could land it in a tree, you could land on somebody's roof, you know, whatever. But when you're doing that, you have to find a place to land. So it's in your mind. You're looking for a place that will land a plane, you know. So you're looking for things like highways and golf courses and all that kind of stuff. And we had a golf course. I want to talk about what's his manifestation. We have. You want to talk about that? It's like there's this golf course, a big one. It's up in Hanover, New Jersey, is where the place is, and it's big. It's like one of these Trump. I think it turned into Trump. Golf course. It's huge. I mean, beautiful place. So I said to myself, well, I'm going down right there. You know, I'm going to land it right there. Now, don't forget, if you're going to do something like that, you don't actually land. You know, you're like maybe 30 feet up or something from whatever it is, you know, that you're going to do. They'll keep you away from highways because they don't want people in cars and to have car accidents and things.
Just golfers.
Wait, you see, it's better. I come over. I'm going down this thing. I'm going down to the golf course and everything else. And everything is fine. That little, you know, there's a little lump here and there, but I mean, you know, I could get around that stuff. No big deal. Small plane. So I'm gonna, you know, do my thing and that, you know, going, and we go over this little hill, like a rise, you know, where you like go up and then you know, go down and whatever. On the other side, there's these little old ladies and old guys. they're people. They're playing golf. Maybe about 6 or 7 of them we got reported to the tower because of what I did. I mean,
It
it
would
was
have
like
been
I just
funny
went,
if you got out of the plane with
man,
golf
yeah.
clubs.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, it was like these people were ready to have a heart attack. They were going crazy, and I
Why
guess,
that?
well, my trainer got me out of it because it really wasn't my fault. I mean, he's the one who turned up the motor.
And so what happened? Did you land or
No,
did
no, we didn't land in the golf course. I mean, I landed in the regular airport, but the idea was if you were going to have to land, where would you land?
yeah.
It's the whole idea of doing this, i.e., I lost my motor, kind of thing, is to learn how to land, glide the plane and land in some place that won't hurt you or anybody else. Like if there's a woods, I'll give it a good one. Here's another scenario. If there's a woods someplace, if you can glide around the forest, if you can see, that I'm saying a lot of ifs because it's 50-50 when you do this. Try to always get, if you're going to land in a woods, if there's nothing else, if you're on a mountain somewhere, there's nothing but woods all over the place. Look for trees that are as big as your wings because you want to land the plane in between the trees. It takes the wings off.
That's
You
impressive.
won't go on fire.
Wow.
Yes, you'll destroy the plane, but you'll be alive, and
Yeah,
you won't
Wow.
nose into anything. You'll glide into the trees instead of into the trees, straight down.
That would have been
And
funny
now,
if you did that.
but wait a minute, now they actually put the parachutes. They have rocket launchers on top of the plane. It shoots a parachute, huge parachute. So if you're going to go down, you just pull this lever in the plane. The parachute gets shot up in the air, opens up like on one of the space, the space things that when they come down, same thing. And that big parachute glidely,
Wow.
softly puts you on the ground.
I didn't even know they had that. I'm like,
Oh
wow.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Just came. I mean, I was down by the airport. Well, I do a lot of stuff down the airport, but it's one of these places in there where all the kids are standing there in a class and then they're learning this stuff and they're like, well, go this, that, or whatever. And I said, yeah, I saw that.
And so do you still fly? Do you have the opportunity to go
No,
once in a
no,
while?
but I got guys trying to put what's his things under my nails and that to make me get back in plane again. And I said to him, look, when you're my age, you don't want to go on a plane again. God, who knows? Maybe it could be at 4,000 feet or something like that, have a heart attack. And
God.
like,
At least you're
hey, listen,
practical, right?
I'm gonna go with my feet on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
And so did you get a chance to take other people up or was it just you and your friend?
Actually, yeah, I had a whole bunch of people. I took one guy that he had to go to Connecticut, and it was some kind of thing that with traffic or something like that. It was cold, one of those kind of things. I said, well, I have to take before you take any kind of each one of the phases that you go through, you take tests, and of course you have to take sight, where you are. You have to know where you are. You have to be able to read instruments and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
And you also do the blind one where they put something over here like this, and the only thing you can see is straight ahead. But it's a hood training. And I had to do that anyway. So I said to myself, hey, it's a great idea. I don't know where you're going. Just tell me where you're going and we'll figure it out. Today we got cell phones and GPS in the cell phone. Then we didn't. Then we actually did follow the birds. Like where are they
Wow.
going? So
They know.
it was kind of crazy. We had so much
Wow.
fun. We really, really did.
I bet.
There is a picture that I do have, and I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Awesome.
Of me and my boss that I took there getting off the plane. Yeah,
You better give me a raise.
yeah, you
Come
can see
on.
this. You can see this little boy and just sitting around doing nothing.
That's
Weird.
fantastic though. And so pretty much 10, 15, 20 years were you flying or was it just a brief learning something?
I belong to club and that because to rent the plane was like absolutely ridiculous. And if you paid dues, and you scheduled when you wanted the plane and you put the gas in the plane and stuff, I mean, that was a lot cheaper. So I did that for a few years.
That's great. And you've got the same kind of an energy as you're very casual. You've got a lot of power, but you don't have to be crazy with it. It's just like, hey, I'm sure if you started freaking out while you're flying, that's not the most productive.
You know, the things I've done in my life, I mean, seriously, I mean, if you can really, 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 really read me, you'll also get the part about the road racing and also the racing. I used to do, what is it called? It's like carnival racing, where it's a big, oval and stuff, and then it's connected to anything. It could be connected to a circus or any of these kind of places. And I did that for like 2 years.
Wow.
There was a guy that lived on my block where I was, and his parents and father were friends of my father and my mother forever since the houses were built after World War II. So he said to me, he says, "Look, I need somebody skinny and light." I said, go get one. You know, he's looking at me like, "Ugh." The only thing I had against me was I was tall. So it was kind of rough. But I mean, when you're racing and you're doing things like that and you got the motor in between your legs, and it's like, whoa.
Bet.
And that's weird stuff.
It must be a high though. What a rush. And you're completely in control of your own life experience. Like, oh,
That's more dangerous than flying a plane.
yeah. I
Because
bet.
the guys that are racing with you want to kill you. That was dirt racing, by the way. It wasn't like racing.
Okay, right.
It's dirt.
Wow,
And
I didn't.
yeah, it's like everybody crashes into everybody else, and everybody's got dents. One of those kind of things.
Oh,
And
God.
thank goodness, man, I kept my car in one piece.
Excellent. But it's kind of interesting. You bring up a very interesting point, which is the gentleman, even though there was a strong potential, could have been shot down. He's like, yeah, frick that. Nope, not going to. And apparently, more than likely, didn't entertain that dynamic very much at all. So he stayed in his safety zone. So what happened? He stayed safe.
Mm,
Wasn't taken out.
nope.
That's powerful because that's life changing. I'm sure. You're in complete control of that. Like, yeah, okay.
I'm serious. I mean, I sit down with some people and tell them some of the things that I did in my lifetime, and they're like, "No way." I said, "Yeah, way."
And you made it.
I
God,
I
that's
mean,
excellent.
my dad passed away when I was 9, and that was 1961. And ever since that time, my mother was the type of person that, like, if it's there and it's possible for you to do it. My mother was extremely positive.
Awesome.
That's why, like, anything from the bands all the way to the cars, all the way to the planes. Next thing was the rocket ship. I mean, it was, who knows, NASA. I mean, it was crazy. So, I mean, for life, it was weird. It was very, very weird. I mean, I got to play with the Jersey Philharmonic Orchestra. I played
Wow.
trombone for a whole summer. You had to do that for school if you were on a music, taking music in school. So, I mean, but crazy, crazy things. I mean, you're playing with guys that have been playing for 40, 50 years.
I
I mean,
bet.
these guys are, oh, you talk about the best of the best.
And could you
And,
hold your own with your talents?
oh yeah, oh yeah, I didn't have any problems. But the thing was, if a guy had something to say, he would come right up to you and say, "You're holding your finger wrong," or whatever. You know, I mean, they really they made you, they molded you. That's why they would more or less why you would play with these guys for a summer session.
And when he said that, did you give him the finger? Or no?
I said, well, I come up, well,
Yeah. And use my
really,
son.
I'm serious. We had so much time and good times and things. And then there's women. I mean, my life has been worse than the roller coaster at let me say Palisades Park.
Okay,
It's
I've
like,
never been there, so
yeah, well, don't worry about it. It's like well, you go like this thing here, and it's real, real nice, and all of a sudden you'll
oh
one
wow.
of those kind of things. Yeah, yeah. That's been my life with women. So I have not found one that was. I mean, you come from a loving house, and you're talking 100%. You know it, Jamie. I know you know it. I can feel you know it. There I go with that word again. Feel. Uh-oh.
Yes.
Anyway, it's one of those things that where somebody loves you 100%, maybe 110% if there's such a number. And then you go out into the world and you get all these people that don't. You've got about 103 right now sitting next to you. But
Yes.
you know what I mean? You're lucky. I haven't been that lucky.
But you still keep going. That is
Yeah.
brilliant. Excellent.
I'm not stopping. What are you kidding me? Let me tell you, the last breath, someone's going to owe me.
Funny, but I always say we live our entire life in one breath.
We
Where
do.
we come in, right? We breathe in, and when we go out, we breathe out. The trick
Right.
is breathe, and you'll live. That's a huge dynamic. That's awesome. I didn't either remember or even know that you were a pilot back then. That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
did you get a chance to fly the planes while you were with the band, or no? Did it not work like that?
No, I wouldn't fly with those idiots anyway. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, let me tell you something. We were a bunch of people. We were an original band that toured almost every state in the United States.
Wow.
We had a blast on them all. And that my drummer, for instance, was an ex-Dodger pitcher. That's what he did right out of college, right into the Dodgers B team. This guy we used to go to when we were in places that were near a carnival, and people have seen it all the time. Anybody listening to this show will know that you've seen some kind of a thing with a speed gun at some kind of a carnival somewhere. You always in your lifetime you'll always see that. Well, we went to this one place one time, and him and I, we used to throw balls and stuff, and I could get up to about 70, maybe, on a good day, maybe.
That's good.
This guy clocked him at 115.
Wow.
That's what I mean. His arms here, for those that are looking, his arms right here were as big as my thigh.
Wow, I bet.
He was big, and when he played, if you ever hear Led Zeppelin and you hear the original with Bonham playing, that is what my drummer sounded like.
Nice.
Wow. Beautiful.
I mean, we're talking incredible. My lead guitar player, he's probably he can sound like anybody in the world. I'm serious. You say sound like Clapton, he could sound like Clapton. You say sound like Led Zeppelin. He could sound like Led Zeppelin, note for note.
Wow. And did he already have this, or did he have to do some kind of a
No,
research?
he'd been a teacher forever.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And so the guys that I got into my band, well, let me tell you something. They were all crazy and they were all top notch. In fact,
yes, man.
the first headless bass my bass player had. They came out with this if you ever seen them, they're black and they're a little like kind of square on the bottom, and up on the top there's no tuning things. It's cut off. So the tuning thing on the top isn't there. It just stops. The tuners are actually on the bottom instead of being on the top. It's an unbelievable guitar, and it's got an EQ in the guitar, so you can tune this thing to sound like anything you want.
Wow.
You can make. I'm serious. It played the fingering and everything else. It was unbelievable. And my bass player was, and he's still playing. By the way, he's still playing.
And is it, of course, another band, but are they in a professional way? Some of the ones that have records, or just enjoying like he was able to do?
We all had records. Our records went. You know where our records went big? Europe.
Really?
America.
That must have been exciting and fun.
YouTube. Forget about it. We blew them out of the water. There was another one too. I forget what the other one name was, but White something or other. We were better than them at the time. It sold. The biggest seller was Germany.
Wow.
So I mean, it was crazy.
And you didn't travel there, right? While you were playing, they just
the furthest one did Greenland.
How was that?
Freezing.
I bet. Isn't it crazy? Iceland and Greenland are the complete opposite. Yeah. Iceland's got some great energy and beautiful area, and Greenland is freaking freezing and cold.
Look on a map and find Thule Air Base. We were doing all the air bases, and this one time they said, "Well, we're going to drive you over here." Where are we going to drive to? We're going to drive over there to the plane. We're going to get on a plane, then we're going to drop you off. What? It's like, huh? So you go over to the plane, you take a nice little plane drive. Well, you wind up at Thule Airport, Air Force Base, where you can't walk outside because it's 50 degrees below zero.
Wow.
So if you breathe outside, your lungs just freeze.
I bet.
Instant.
Wow.
So they bring this truck and they put it up against the plane. They take you out of a nice warm truck and then you go wherever you're going.
And were you able to wear a mask so that you didn't have to?
Yeah, they give you a mask when you go there.
Yeah, because I'm like, man, that's crazy cool. It would have been nice if you could have flown in on your plane into the places like.
There are idiots there that are walking around just breathing like you and me. So, I mean, really.
Yes, and right, as long as you know who you're dealing with.
Seriously. And then you play in any of those kind of places. And it's funny because they have an officer side and they have a peon side. You know, if you're not the brass, you must be a peon. So, I mean, it was crazy, but I mean, I'm serious. I mean, we used to go crazy. And then another guy used to walk around with a sound meter. You know those sound meters they have in it. They can get your decibels. It's a decibel meter.
Okay.
And this guy would like walk around and say, "Well, you know, you're too loud." I said, "Well, you're in front of my amp, you schmuck."
And did you have to make a lot of changes when you were playing when he's doing that? Or? Nice.
They were pretty cool because somebody from the audience would always say, "Would you let him play for crying out loud?" Yeah, so it was kind of funny. And then you'd see
they were crying out loud.
I'm serious. They were like at the end of their party. They were like too many beers. Like we.
But what a great validation out of 50 states and 205 countries.
Well, not 50. We didn't do Alaska because I wasn't going to freeze again.
Yeah, I bet.
Washington State was brief. It was on a bend.
But apparently, getting to travel to a lot of the states here in the U.S. That's very cool.
It was great. And at the same time, I was also married and had 2 kids at the time. So you got to figure in that. I was out maybe 6 months, 4 months, 3 months, things like that. And then if you were getting anywhere, you would fly. And then I know one time that we had a big show with the WWF in Las Vegas. We were the warm-up band. So we'd come out, we'd do our thing, and we'd do whatever. Then they'd have like a week that they would do like absolutely nothing. Guys would go to training and then or whatever else. Then they would move over to like Reno or something. They'd go over there. I would get on the plane, which was real close. I mean, when you get to the center of town, I mean, the airport's like, what, 15 minutes away, if that? So go right over to the airport. I was home. So I came home, did whatever I had to do home, and then got back on another plane. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, somebody, wake up! Like, here we go to another red eye plane, one of those kind of things.
And it may not be that fun. They get to see you in action on the stage, but they don't more than likely get to see behind that scene and all that you guys have got to deal with to get out there.
That was crazy. And you eat whatever you can eat, and then you had your own food. You would go out and buy food and things and bring it back to your room, and you had apples and cheese and carrots and all kinds of things.
That's healthy stuff.
I know, but we did. No, I mean, you could get cheeseburgers coming out your ears if you were somewhere else, but.
Well, you have a similar body style. You're lean and in good shape. She is too. Mag's amazing. And that's just natural for her. I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. No.
Trust me when I say, if I did see if there were 2 things on a plate and it was like a double cheeseburger with bacon on or something, and there was another one that was over there that was say carrots, strawberries, some melon, and you throw in maybe a little salad on top of that with a little cream cheese or something like that in there. I mean, which one would you choose?
I'd choose the double cheeseburger.
I go for the cheeseburger.
Looking A.
Now, wait a minute. I'm not that crazy. I would like wash it down with the other plate.
Smart. Good balance, man. That's beautiful.
I'm really, I'm crazy, but not that crazy.
Well, and nice when you've got to take care of yourself. people aren't going to be able to do that. So you got to do it for yourself. I'm sure that must have been a tremendous learning curve as well with the interactions.
Yeah, it was strange. It was good. We always had a good time. We always tried to. There were times that were bummers. Like there were a couple times that we went out. I went out with the van and all the guys. We had a big van, and I was always the driver. And we're going down this hill. We were somewhere up in Vermont, someplace. And I'm coming down this hill, and of course, like you got to put on the brakes. That's a good thing to do. None, zero, zap, went to the floor. That's it. So, being the kind of guy that flew the plane, I was a very calm guy, and I used the foot brake for the back brakes, and slowly, we still didn't stop before the interstate. My horn was going, the lights were blinking, the whole 9 yards. But we went through it like 25 miles an hour. We started like 50.
Yeah.
Wow. So we blew the master cylinder on the brakes. It went, and that was it all. And I fixed it.
Wow, that's impressive. I'm like, I can oil a doorknob.
It was Sunday. The only thing that was open in that town that we had to go to was a parts place. All the places you could get it fixed were closed. And it was close enough from where the club was that we were at and the apartment that we had. It was walking distance. So I went and I bought a new master cylinder and came back and put it back in the truck, and that was it. We were good to go.
Wow, that's impressive. That could have been very expensive had someone else.
We actually sat down on the curb and said, it's over.
Yeah, huh? And did that pretty much take care of things for a while you were driving that vehicle around?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't falling apart. Okay.
Oh, that was just too much. Just one weird thing that went. But that's that's life. That's what we. When you said this is all coming from your manifestation, things, and every single thing that happens, if you really think about it, if you go past at least my history anyway, these things were going to happen anyway. You know what I mean? It was going to prove how I was. It was going to prove me. There was something up there somewhere that was going, okay, this is a test. They heard the CBS thing go, boo.
Sounds like you were testing yourself in your own way, too.
Well, you didn't have a choice. You had to do. And as I said, even when my father passed away in 1961, when we got back from his funeral, we were out in Long Island with our aunts and everybody else that was there. When we got back, his lawn, his beautiful lawn, we had a corner property. The corner property, by the way, just sold for a little over $500,000.
Awesome.
It was bought by my father for $9,500.
Wow, that's cool.
You can figure. I mean, really, that property has a lot of history.
I bet.
And the lawn was like you would see in a picture for Scott's. That was his lawn. So, and it was always cut every week, and it was always, it was perfect. You know what I mean? Like it was like you could lay a piece of paper on it, and it would just like be flattened back. One of those kind of things. We got back, and it was overdrawn. It was unbelievable. Now here I am, a 9-year-old kid. From that time, we went out to Sears. My mother bought a power. My father always used a push mower, and there was no way at 9 years old, in my size, I could ever push that thing through that grass. That was like, it was huge. So we got a power, a real mower with like a real motor and stuff on it. And she got one that was self-powered, had the front wheels that would go all by themselves.
Oh,
oh yeah. So it gave me a little help, with the push.
Oh,
I'm telling you, it took me 3 days to cut that grass.
Wow.
And
you was able to do it in a day.
And then the next one down, and then the next one down, and then the next one down. I'm telling you, I never walked so much in my life. But on the other hand, this was responsibility that was built into me from that time on, because I was the man of the house. There's so many guys out there that are so, to me anyway, irresponsible only to themselves. So they're responsible to themselves, like I'm the greatest. Well, how about the rest of the world? That's what I always say to them. What about the rest? How about me? How about you? How about her? You know, are they awesome or what? I guess. No, you don't guess. You either know or you don't. And that's why, me with the people I hang out with, I'm telling you, man, if they have a question, they always ask me.
Right.
Because somewhere, somehow, I'm going to come out with a logical solution to whatever they're looking for. Because sometimes what they're looking for is really not what they're looking for. They're looking in the wrong place.
Yeah, but when you can help guide them, you can't do it for them, but you can do it with them. That's powerful.
That is, it's funny you said it that way. It's exactly what I told them about you. And they could be listening right now on their cell phones.
Awesome.
The thing is, people ask questions, people get information, they get taught something, but not taught something like I'm going to shove it down your throat if you don't listen. One of those. Remember in school?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby. So it's not one of those kind of things. It's like, here is the plate. Here's the food. If you eat, you eat. If you don't, it's not my fault.
Yep.
Those kind of things. So it was, really, that's the way I do it with just about anybody. And I tell people all the time, if you have a question, email me. I may be wrong, but not
But
that
at
wrong.
least you're trying to find information for them.
Exactly.
In doing that and being a professional with the band, were you in your own way thinking about things before you got there? Were you seeing your own success? Because, it's kind of cool to go, a lot of times you'll get a reflection of consciousness, in this case of how you're approaching things.
It's funny you should ask that one too. The guy that we had promoters. And of course, the promoters had people in each area that they dealt with. And one of the questions I used to ask the promoter all the time was find out what kind of people are in the place. What kind of bands have been in the place? What was the names of their songs? Some of them, if you can get them. This gave me insight to what kind of crowd hung out in that place.
And how to deal with it more than likely, I'm sure.
Right. So sometimes, I mean, we had a regular schedule of what we sang and when, So sometimes you would change like the first song to maybe a middle song in the middle of a set instead of the first song. And then you would take one from the middle, which you would usually use to blow people up a little more. But you'd put it at the very beginning. I mean, we had a couple of songs that, I mean, from the first note, I would plaster you to the wall with sound. I'm serious. From the first note, it was like bam.
And did you guys have the big speakers like they do? Like a whole bunch of them, or was it the old school?
We had two that were about I don't know, 4x4 or 5x5 on stands, and it went up in the air. These things. We were very digital at the time, and that I had an English board that I had that was in front of me. We didn't even need a sound man because we knew what we wanted to sound like, and I knew how to make us sound like we wanted to sound like. It was all right, just like it is right now in front of me. It was there. So I could stand up, I could play guitar and everything else, and every second or something like that, touch a slider or whatever I wanted to do. You get kind of fancy.
That's fantastic. I didn't realize.
Pretty mobile.
I know you've been in that band for many years, but I didn't realize all of the other exciting adventures that you were on in addition to that. Like, wow.
12 years.
And so what got you interested in music then?
My mother, when I was 2.
Wow.
When I was 2 years old, my mother was a singer. She was a religious singer in, let me see, Manhattan School of Music for Girls.
Wow.
In New York. And they had school, they had nuns, teaching them and everything else. And I mean, these people were all mil-spec. I mean, they were like unbelievable. And my mother was a singer. So of course, when I was like 2 and I was trying to sing anyway, to like kids records, my mother would work with me on all the records. And I remember too, there was a doctor, his name was, talk about how many years ago? The guy's name was Dr. Horowitz. That was the guy's name. He had his practice out of his house in the next town over, Fair Lawn, New Jersey, over from where we were. And that doctor, of course, we'd go for our annual, things and everything else in it. And he would ask my mother and Annette how I was doing, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. My mother told him all about their singing, with all the records. And the doctor turns around and he goes, no, 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 no. Come on. I know he looks great and he's healthy and everything else, but come on, singing to the records at 2 years old. And I remember my mother telling me the story about it. And she said, she just said, yeah, here. She said, he said, sing the doctor's, the song about a bear or some kind of a brown bear or something. And I did. And the doctor was like, duh.
It's funny, but you're bringing up some interesting points. Back in New York, my mom used to live in Hudson Valley. And in doing that, she had her own dance academy. She was on Broadway. She sang and acted, did all those things. So it's kind of nice and very interesting. I didn't realize your mom was in a similar dynamic. Yeah. Kind of cool when it's just who you are, but you have those qualities and characteristics.
I did the Broadway. I did the Broadway too.
Awesome. How did you like that?
I didn't.
Different energy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved being on stage, but then again, when I got off of that and I went straight music and things, I was still on stage and I was still in the front. I was always the lead singer.
Excellent. And great that you at 2 years old. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, no, honest to God, 2 years old. Because my mom used to sing around us all the time. See, so I mean, even when you're 2 years old, let's face it, if I sang for my dog would sing back.
Nice.
And he does, Kit is like, I give him the old, and he'll turn around and go, yeah.
What you mean, boy? Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, he's crazy. Let me see. Hold on a minute. We got somebody on here.
Cool.
It says my Frankel, but I don't know. Who's that? All right, we had somebody.
I'm like, is that you? Is that your guitar that is recorded, or
no.
Okay, I'm like, wow, what was that?
No, that's their hold music if nobody's on.
And do you have records? Do you still have them? Like you've collected them and been able to keep them on?
Didn't I send you the one we did in Japan?
I don't believe so. I don't think. If you would, please send it.
Light another candle.
Yeah, send it again.
And of course, it's ASCAP and BMI and all that kind of stuff. But that particular recording was done in arena when they were doing sound checks.
Wow.
So it was recorded for the sound check. And I played the keyboard. So, I mean, and the guitar. I had the guitar on me too.
So I know that, okay, that's what I was just going to ask. I know that you were the lead singer, but I didn't realize you had the piano and the guitar and the other aspects. Like, dang.
Write this down. If you look it up, look up CZ101.
Okay.
All right. That's a very small keyboard. And that very small. I mean, it's only like maybe, if I'd be being nice if I said 2.5 feet. And that's what opens the song.
Wow.
But the rest of it is a real B3. That's, one of those big, short, church type things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
With a couple of keyboards and stuff. And I can't play, by the way. I can't play keyboard. It's serious. I'm not kidding. Once I learn where I'm going, I know where I'm going. But other than that, I know nothing.
See, and that's you kind of bring up that interesting point. All right, you're very focused. Hey, when I'm on. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
And you got that, and you're doing it.
Oh, yeah. On keyboards, I was trained like a rat. You do it enough times and then you learn.
I hope so. Yeah. Yes, definitely. And the cool thing is, did it take you a long time to learn how to play, or is that just part of you and natural abilities?
No, there's a keyboard behind me.
Wow. Yeah, I can only see your cool sign.
No, you can't see behind me, but yeah. I mean, I have all the instruments. I have a trombone sitting over there too.
Do you still play now, just for fun?
I did it a couple of weeks ago, and I take it out once in a while and let it clean. I make sure everything's clean, everything else. You know, the mouthpiece is like real silver, so it turns blue
Yeah, yeah.
or black, whatever comes first. Black and blue. So, you know, one of those things. Exactly. Oh yeah, you put it up to your mouth net to play, and there's a ring around your lips that's black. Yeah, you definitely know it needs a cleaning.
They're like, hey boy, you got
But
a ring around.
I blew it. I blew it out the what's this out the Florida room. That's all. That's all screened. The Florida room is all screened. It's a
Okay.
big room behind the house.
Wow. And how long, what have you been there? A year and a half?
Five, almost five.
Really? Holy wow, God, time
Look
flies.
on computer. Look up Hurricane Irma, and we were here about 8 days before Irma.
Wow.
Irma came to visit. Oh yeah, that was not fun.
Wow.
That was not fun.
You've had a pretty full life, man.
And to top it all off, before we left Charleston, South Carolina, we had Matthew up there, Hurricane Matthew. That came in. So we had that one. Then we moved here and got Irma. It was like,
You guys are consistent.
yeah,
Good.
they were following us around. You know, it was like bad juju or something. But everything was cool. Everything stood. You know, we were cool.
See,
Sounded like a train came through though.
well, and you've got a pretty down to earth energy too. So more than likely you didn't get a big ego to go, I'm everything and everyone's nothing. And it's like people just need to know it's possible to do that and that you can treat others with consideration and respect.
I say this all the time on your behalf, believe it or not, because we do talk about you a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, I tell people to go on the video thing and listen to your video, and they do.
Very cool.
Some of the things that I tell them all the time is, look, I said, when you're doing things in your life, do them. If they didn't work out the way you wanted it to, doesn't mean you didn't do it.
Yeah, at least you honored that. Yes.
I said, if you really, 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 really want to try it again, go ahead, try it again. And I said, I bet it's better the second time. Because the first time you were afraid to go all the way and do whatever you were going to do all the way because you were unsure of what you were doing. But now you've been there, did that, and I said you'll go in and you'll be fine. And a couple did. You know, especially one guy that was playing soccer. He was always worried about getting killed, broken bones and the whole 9 yards. He played last year on South Florida University or whatever on their team. He's fine. He beat the hell out of everybody else, but he's fine. I said, you were worried about a couple of years ago breaking bones. I said, and you're here smacking people with balls. You know, it's like.
What?
I'm serious. I mean, it was like, this guy was a crazy guy. Yeah.
You got some very cool and interesting friends, man. That's awesome.
Everybody is, and we've said this before, everybody is a part of us. Everybody. Every single person that walks on this earth, and people don't get it through their thick head.
And more.
Yeah.
Everything. Yes.
Every single thing you do, every single thing that you think of or say or do or touch or whatever, it's all part of the whole. And the whole, being the universal whole, means that you and the other people that are around you are brothers and sisters. Not exactly through the same parents, but where did those parents came from?
Right.
Their parents, where'd they come from? And it goes on and on and on.
And I share the fact that for myself, fairly recently, I was just sitting there. I wasn't meditating, just sitting there. And that quickly, I became everybody I ever interacted with. I felt every single energy exchange and came back to me with the words, how did you treat yourself? I'm like, oh my God, that stuff is real. Holy moly. And most people only focus on this planet. I'm like, oh, it is way beyond that. Yet we are all interconnected. I always say cosmically, we're all the same age. Cosmically, we are all one.
Just what David said down in Brazil when I had him on a couple of weeks ago. We are all one. I said to him, I said, you have no idea how right you is.
Yeah, yeah. You have that firsthand experience, then it gets real.
Mhm.
And Chi, my master guide, let me know that that was a life review. I used to think that what the life review is, you'll be sitting there and there'll be this screen and it'll be pictures of your life experience. And he's like, that would take you too long. I still don't know how it was possible, but that quickly, I don't even know how I did it, but I felt every energy connection. It was incredible. And that's why, for myself, one, I've always realized that we're all interconnected. Two, you have that firsthand experience, not secondhand, firsthand to go, oh, that just got real. I don't understand it, but I just experienced it.
Mhm.
Now it's like, ooh, that will kind of open up your consciousness to be a little bit more receptive to maybe things that you weren't aware of or that you didn't know, or sometimes that you were seeing in one way that shifted.
On that note, Miss Tarot lady, what do you want to talk about? I seriously, I've been sitting here, and it was my fault, and you can beat me when you see me.
That's great, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, you're sitting here doing absolutely nothing, and I can see all these thoughts going through your head because you're different. You're thinking in a different direction than we are.
Well, I kind of, and
She said, you hear that? She said, well, see, that was it right there.
kind of, right? And then some of it is in the same direction, like I've been processing some of the things of oneness and connection and like really feeling into what it would be like to be someone else, and to, excuse me, and to hold love in your heart and to be able to greet someone and look at and treat them like what if this was me? What if my life looked like that for a moment? I've just been doing a lot of integrating that frequency, like whether it's in the dream state, the meditative state, or even in my everyday life. I've used the practice to incorporate how I treat people, how I'm being treated by people, and how I want to just feel that connective oneness. And I think when you put that calling card out to the universe, like this is how I want to engage life, this is how I want to experience life, then you will see a piece of yourself in every single person, just like you said. It's like we remove the blinders,
Yeah.
I was in a meditation last night and I was like processing, integrating this guy with bald and ugly. And I was like, dude, that's me. Like, look at you. Just look at yourself for a minute. And it was one of those moments where like we might have judgments right off the bat by the way someone looks or the way someone smells or talks or whatever. And I'm just like, but that's who I am too. So, I'm really working to just expand my heart, expand love, and find ways to interweave that through life.
And I think Mag brings up a very interesting point. For me, I always say playfully, I'm lazy. To me, it takes no more energy to send love and light to a person than to the all that is.
Hmm?
I'm like, hey, and it's that love vibe to go, this is not the only planet with life on it. There are many other worlds that have life. And we as humans are extraterrestrials to everyone else. And it's kind of nice for me, just that love vibe is I don't say that to everyone. I just do it. And it's really cool to go, why? Because I can, because I choose to. So I have my own rules and regs to go, if you're saying something, then give me some parameters. And I'll share the fact, a lot of people see the stairway to heaven. And I'm like, what about an escalator?
How about an elevator?
Yeah, well, but it's that kind of connection and perception that people like, it needs to be the steps of attainment. And I'm like, really? What if it's just that you have enough guts to take that first step and let life carry you to the next level?
Or teleportation.
Or,
Just instantaneous thought connection.
With the other one that being, like people like we exist and we love and we live.
Yeah.
Put them together.
You'll live and love.
We
Yes.
exist to live and love.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Anybody think like that? No.
Yeah. Well, we live in a world that is such an illusion. Like we see things as outside of ourselves, even though everything is within. And so this world around us is literally a mirror. It's a reflection. It's a refraction of light and frequencies and energy that we just can tap into and tune into. And I think it's really a beautiful time where people can really integrate what is surrounding me, what is with me, like what is going through my head. How can I really see that it is all one? It's one of those, I guess, like Jamie said, if you have your own experiences and you wake up to that, you feel that, you integrate that. If you don't have those experiences, you can cultivate the feeling of it just by looking around and seeing what's being reflected back to you, and looking at that and be like, how is this me, or how is this a part of my journey, and what is it showing me? What is it teaching me? Because to get to that place of feeling the oneness, sometimes we're guided step by step by step by the things that we like and the things that we dislike, and where we need to have better boundaries, where we need to have clearer communication. But every single lesson or life experience will guide us to that very attainment of we are one, and it's about love. And that's like the thread that we feel that can get our consciousness to open up. So I feel like right now, especially with this last solar eclipse, I mean, that was astrologically, it was a really fun one, when it's in Aries, which really focuses on the individual instinct, the individual life force energy, the individual I am presence. And it's getting people to really, they have to take this inside of themselves, or they're going to actually probably feel miserable. It's almost like one of those things where it's really not forcing people. You're never forced to do anything, but it's that opportunity that this astrological alignment allows us to kind of go deeper and deeper within who we are. We can utilize these things, whether it's through the astrological alignment or just through a meditation or just through how you want to open to that oneness. But I feel like that's on the table for humanity. Like, this is where we're expanding into. This is where we're growing. This is where we're feeling ourselves. And it's a cool time in history.
Oh,
I
we're
feel
sitting in a strange place. Believe me when I tell you.
well, we are, and I realize that there are some crazy things going on in the world, but again, what is that reflecting back to you, to your heart? And where does that help you align with who you are? And that's really what people are doing. We can watch the news, we can follow the politics, we can see what's going on in the world. But the main question, even with all of those things, is who am I in the mix of all of this? And we can't necessarily remove ourselves from that discord. I'll just call it discord for the lack of a better word. But how are we a part of it, and how can we then influence it with something from a different channel or a different vibration or a different frequency? And that's our responsibility. Everyone who feels the need to create change or wanting to have change in the world, they have to be the change that they want to see in the world. They have to show up. They have to be the example. And it really does start with your heart.
It's kind of funny. They were talking about all the things that were going on. If you look into physics, you can see that what actually, like, everybody was looking at, there's a corona that goes around the moon. You can see the outside edge really, really good, very definite that was going around the sun. Physics-wise, there's only one time in thousands of years that the moon is exactly at that particular spot, at that particular distance from Earth. And the sun is as strong as it is, and at the Earth and the sun relationship is the same space between each other to get that corona that was perfect all the way around the moon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's a 1 in a million. That's like not winning the lottery.
But yeah.
The chances of that happening in our lifetime and about 50 lifetimes to go is impossible. It can't happen.
Fantastic.
Why did it happen right now? Why are we having earthquakes? I mean, come on, Jersey with earthquakes, Jersey, New York.
Yep.
Mount Etna right? Big thing, right? You're talking level cities, the whole 9 yards. It's blowing smoke rings. It's slightly volcanic and it's blowing smoke rings.
Wow.
I'm serious. You want to look at these things that are happening that are in our lifetime. We're actually learning this. If you, I mean, I had to look this stuff up. I mean, I knew about it. I saw, some of it because in the morning I'm up at 3 in the morning. Don't forget. So I mean, I go through stuff that nobody goes through. And Diane, forget about it. She goes through stuff that I can't even think of. But when you look at all these things, you have to think one thing. Every single thing that we do, the world, the earth, the universe, the other planets, the air, the non-air, the ionospheres, all these things are all part of us. Every single part is connected to
Yeah.
itself. This whole universe is only one thing. Everything is connected to it. So we, this table, this mic, this internet, everything is connected to the same place. And when I always used to say to everybody, they thought I was completely out of my mind, which I might have been. But I used to say the universe is listening. It is, and people did not get it at all. And I explained it to them pretty heavily back then. But
However, you realize, right, you can't make them. You can
nope.
share the insights, their choice if they want to empower
Well,
themselves.
you don't force anybody. No.
Right. And when they can see that, okay, you're not trying to make me do things, but I'm seeing your end result of success. So you know what? You look like you're living your truth. So how you doing that? Because they're not going to ask you that unless you've got a productive outcome. Great thing is you're just being you. And always like you do, and myself is remain humble. We're no better, we're no worse. Just do you. And I always say, you know how you're going to stand out in life? Do you, and the passion, whatever it is that you have passion for, that is what speaks to people. They feel that connection. Kind of
Mm.
like music, you get them emotionally connected, you got them. It's
That's why.
beautiful.
That's why I say to people in all the time, instead of texting somebody, text to them if it's an emergency, or if it's something they have to know right away, or you don't have time to make the phone call, so you want to do it real quick. That's the places that you do the text. If you're going to sit there all day long and then texting back to each other, tell the sucker to get his ass or her ass next to you. You want
Right.
to talk to them? Talk in their face. Don't
And
talk
if
over text.
you're
Text
texting,
them.
you're both on the phones, like
That's right.
freaking talk with me.
That's right. That's right. You're right. Or yeah. What's the big deal? You can't call them on the phone. Like say hi. How are you? It's whatever. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's like people don't do that. I mean, seriously. When I see people do it, I mean, I got to tear them apart. I'm sorry. Especially when they're sitting there for an hour going, tick, 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 and you can hear it. It's like, and I'm like,
Like
I
when
go,
you
fine.
get into a resort. What's
I
your
say,
name?
yeah, but I was telling them, I said, can you see the telephone number? They said, yeah, it's right here. I said, don't call the sucker, damn it. I mean, really,
Excellent.
what's it do? You know
Yeah,
what? If you
practical,
called
yes.
somebody, wouldn't you say less than you said on a text?
More than likely, and it more than likely isn't as much work to freaking do all those
Yeah,
texting and all
yeah,
that stuff when you can just share.
yeah. I
Speak.
mean, I'm not saying that anything that any of our technology is bad. I've grown up with it. I've grown up adhering to it. But the kids that you see that are doing this are like the kids like 15 or 14 up, and they weren't in the gradual bringing to the public all of this technology. They were slammed into the middle of it, and they're not even into the middle of it yet. The middle ain't for another 10 years. I mean, seriously, that's the way it's. Because I mean, I was always a tech dude somewhere. So, you know, eh, when you talk to these kids, you tell them, look, man, do you remember beepers? What's a beeper? I said, it was a little thing you put on your belt and then it would beep and you would have a telephone number and you call whoever it was. I didn't have that. I said, do you know anybody that had one? No. I said, well, then let me explain to you where that phone came from. Because seriously, I mean, it was all communication. I can remember one time I was driving on the Cross Bronx Expressway going through the Bronx, off the George Washington Bridge, coming from Jersey. I was in the fast lane. There's 3 lanes that you have there, and I was in 5 o'clock traffic. So you figure it really doesn't go anywhere.
I bet.
My beeper is going off and off and off and off. And I couldn't, there's no phones. How do you get to a payphone?
Remember those? They don't have those anymore.
I know. So I finally get to what's a payphone about an hour later. And I call up the number that was on the thing. And the guy said, "What's the matter? You can't read the thing? You can't read the beeper?" I said, "I just hung up." That's so cool.
God.
I said, no, this wasn't worth it. The next day, I got an apology.
Wow.
That was the next day. I said to him, I said, you knew damn right well where I was. I was going to Long Island from New Jersey over the bridge to get to where I was going. So, of course, in between that one part, if you go at like 5 o'clock at night, you had to get there by like 8 o'clock to do a reading. I had to go and I had to talk at a meeting, a sales meeting. So I'm going out there to do that just past Nassau Coliseum. It was out there. I mean, it was like impossible. When you hit the Long Island Expressway at 5 o'clock, forget about it. You should bring your lunch. Better still, bring your girlfriend. By the time you get to the other end, you'll have kids.
That's creative. I like that. Why are you driving?
I'm serious. I mean, that's just the way it was. And then eventually it grew into cell phones. And the first cell phones, as a matter of fact, were kind of... The first phone I had would look like a walkie-talkie in some GI movie.
In a big old box thing to carry, yes.
And then they got real small, real fast. So I had one, I swear, it was this big. Maybe 3 inches, maybe 4. All right? But, of course, well, no text, no nothing, just calls. And then that's all I wanted. No big deal. Well, I hit a bump on that Cross Bronx Expressway going somewhere. In fact, I was going to Diane's house in Bronx. And I almost threw the thing out the window. God forbid, the window happened to be closed. But I hit the window, and it went right across the room, right across the car to the other seat. I mean, that's how phones were at that time. Today, we got these damn things that look like it's a tablet. You stick in your back seat, and God forbid somebody wants you and it's on vibrate. Oh, man, it's cool. Wow. I mean, seriously, if you're into sexual stuff, woo. I mean, I'm serious. You don't want to answer the phone.
Yeah, I bet. But it's that type of dynamic with the technology that you got to start someplace. Because I kind of equate it like me talking about the soul phone is kind of like Nikola Tesla was talking about the cell phone in the early 1900s. Right. And back then he was like, irregardless of the distance, the person will be right in front of you and you'll be able to put this mechanism into your pocket. And people back then are like, are you crazy? Right. Invisible signals? What the? And now we have it, moving from science fiction to science fact.
Well, there was no such thing as Wi-Fi either. Wi-Fi is the same, it was the original Tesla idea from his using Wi-Fi to transmit energy. In other words, instead of you having a wire connected to your house, you would get it through the air.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's still not there yet, but I'm quite sure that they've got some kind of a practicing model somewhere.
I will just share with you again, just anything that anyone's aware of technologically that is the most advanced is at least 50 years behind what they really have. That's the thing, that's the doling out. Hey, here's this, and we're going to create that. And then here's that, and here's this.
And what's behind it all? I bet you don't know that one.
I don't.
She does. She does. Money. That's why you get a little piece of this and a little piece of this. And this is why your iPhone's in it. You got I paid 1, and then you got 2, and now you're up to 12 or 13 or 14 or 15 or whatever it is today. Each one of them is $1,500, then it's $1,800, then it's $1,900. Yeah, but it does this better. You know what? I'll tell you something. The phones that I have, I got 2 of them, and I bought them from South America. the company that's down there. I don't know whether they copy other cell phones. Who knows? I don't care. But each one of these cost me $135. I can do anything. I can fax. I can do anything an iPhone can do, except use the real Apple program. That I can't do. But I don't care. It's a phone. That's all I need is a phone. Or maybe text somebody.
Yeah, but the ability to have that communication, that instead of separation, it has in a certain way brought this world together and but a phone call away. And my thing is with those invisible signals, isn't it interesting that kind of like the GPS, they know your exact location.
Right. Within 3 feet, if they're
Yeah,
good.
I bet. Yeah. And that goes for everybody. That's why it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're using that GPS, and oh yeah, whether you're using it or not doesn't really matter, but they're able to connect with your phone. They're able to tap into that stuff.
They're putting I was talking about that here too. They're now putting the chip in people's heads that you can telepathically move. You can play chess through this chip. I don't know if I'm into that. So I said to them, I said, look, I got an easier way. So the person that was on with me and that wrote back and I said, how could you do it any easier? I said, give them the SIM card and let them swallow it. I'll follow them around. No big deal.
But it's
Yeah.
all about the presentation of how they present that dynamic. Because a little bit is they're like, that chip will allow people who could not walk to walk again. And so people are like, holy cow, if that's the case, I'm going to do it. And then you get into the limitations and the manipulation of humanity and all that kind of good stuff.
If they ever use the word universe or spiritual or anything, I'm telling you, they will hear me in seconds, if not faster.
Right.
I mean, really. I mean, I know the difference. I mean, seriously, you can't say that. I mean, if the guy said his prayers in the morning and the guy says his prayers at night, he's in the same place, and you could put 20 chips in his brain. It doesn't change the universe, and it doesn't change the energy, and it doesn't change the person at all. Period.
Right.
Mentally, though, it could augment bad things for the guy, negative, not positive, because positive would be not having it.
Well, if they get that chip, here's how easy it is to shut you down. Beep.
Yep.
Oh, like,
Yep.
right.
Yep. Yep. And now AI is everything, and now they're coming out with all these robots and everything else. You ever see Stepford Wives?
I remember that, but it's been a long time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go watch that movie. We're in it. We are there. At that time, they were like sci-fi this, sci-fi that.
Yeah, it's science fiction, right? Now it's science fact.
Exactly. I saw one of the models that they had. It was an AI, and I'm serious, dead serious. If you didn't know what to look for, you wouldn't know it wasn't human.
Yeah, huh? Isn't
Uh-huh.
that interesting?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Or they're too perfect. Like their mouths one way.
And they listen. They've got a lot of insight. They build upon the knowledge. There is no emotional connection. I will just say, just from my awareness, I do what they call remote viewing. I was trained by Major Ed Dames, and every time I tune in, because it's all numbers and all that good stuff. Every time I tune in, I will just share. More than likely, by the mid 2030s, AI will be running this entire planet. It will move from the separation of countries to the unification of a world.
Yeah, when they say one world,
It is.
world or anything else. Yeah.
That's why it's like, people are very afraid, but it's also that sometimes you got to go through that fear to get the okayness, to get the connection.
Oh yeah, of course.
The ability to live, not just exist and survive. Because to me, again, you're only a conspiracy nut job till it's validated to go, what if they have that ability, if they do the chips, to mind control you as well, that you wouldn't even know what's going on?
See, when you originally came out, and I'll make this short because I know we're on borrowed time. When you said soul phone, Okay, that is so. I mean, when he said it, it automatically, zapped
Yep.
me. I mean, I was like, yeah, why not? How many people do you see that were abducted that talk to their people telepathically? All of
Yep.
them. All of them. These people don't waste any time talking. They
They're
just they
way
could
beyond that.
they could transmit with their minds the Bible into your brain. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, it's that kind of thinking, and it's easy. But we have a pineal gland, or pineal gland, whatever you want to talk. That's kind of screwed up because of what we do in our lives. So I mean, some of us it works. Some people, it's on hold, kind of, sort of.
Right? Sure. Do the best you can. And it's interesting, but I've found over the years that apparently an electrical shock can ignite that pineal gland. And I share the fact that when I was younger, remember that counting and then holding your breath and getting the rush? Well, I was doing that with a couple of friends, and I was at the home, and we had a TV that was on the ground. It was just kind of sitting there because things were being moved. And I was doing that, and I got, whoa, and I fell back onto the TV. Literally, my arms were in front of me. Had I not been pulled off, I would have probably died. But the interesting thing is what if that was the initiation of my pineal gland?
It could have been.
To
Could
get
have been.
that, it is, but to get that connection, the amplification of it, because everyone has a pineal gland, everyone is a psychic medium. Do you want to use that, and what level do you want to take it to?
And we're not encouraging going to electrocute yourself to get
Nope,
those
no,
powers.
no, never, no. That was just my experience that
I
just happened.
see what he just said, Ned. I was just as stupid. I mean, seriously, and I wouldn't say this to for everybody to do it. You ever take a face plate off an electric thing? Like there's one screw in the middle, and you take that one screw off, and then the plate comes off the electrical thing. Okay, I took the thing off, but the piece that was there, it was a plastic plate. The screwdriver went through to where the electric wire was, and I got the same thing you did. It was like the hair stood up, the whole nine
Yeah,
yards.
yep,
Like, oh, oh yeah, I felt like for like an hour.
yeah. It will
Whoa.
discombobulate you
Oh
big
yeah,
time.
it's a vibration you get. I mean, it's like a wave, like waves that go through you. It's
It,
like, ugh.
it is waves of consciousness.
Oh,
Yes. And
consciousness is
again,
my ass, man. I tell you, I thought I was gonna die. I was like, whoa, and it
and
was
you're still
totally.
here.
It wasn't something I did on purpose. You know.
That's the thing. You're able to look back on that going, oh, wow, I didn't even realize that was going on at the time. And then, for me, years later, to find out that an electrical connection is what can also activate the pineal gland. And so being able to do that, I've reflected back on my younger childhood days with that experience to go, I literally could have died had my friend not pulled me off. He grabbed the arm and pulled me off. And after that, I was kind of like you going, oh, holy moly.
Yeah, you feel
Shift.
bad. Your head hurts and the whole nine yards.
Yeah, yeah. You can't think clearly in that way. I was just glad to be off that TV and still alive.
My mother almost killed me. I'm serious. And the wonder I didn't die from the shock. She was going to kill me.
And
What do you?
so what happened?
Yeah. Oh, she was like, oh, she went berserk. But she was good though. She said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "What?
After she
What?"
beats the crap. Oh,
She's
shoot.
yelling, screaming. I'm going, "What? What?"
Oh,
Oh,
God.
it
You
was
got
terrifying.
guts.
Yeah, God bless, I'm here. She would have killed me right there. I mean,
Yeah,
seriously.
that's the old school. That's right.
Oh,
I'll give you
dude.
something to cry about, boy. Remember
Exactly,
that?
exactly.
But
Yeah,
now they see it as child abuse. I'm like, oh, you have no idea.
yeah.
Back then, that was pretty much part of your life going, you better be good, or they're going to make sure they straighten you out real quick. Like,
Real
oh,
fast.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All
it's
right,
kind of nice. Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's get out of here.
You got it. It's always fun.
Telling you,
Always a
we can
great
keep.
time.
I mean, I'm serious. I mean, and anybody that listens to this tape, video, whatever, the address is bobcharlesshow@live.com, or you can write to jamieclark.net, and we have places now where you can put down comments. if you have questions, anything about this. You guys are human too. We want to know how human you are. You know how human we are. You know what I did. You know what Jamie does. Hey, you know what? Oh my God, Maggie is unbelievable. You didn't even hear what she does. She does tarot that will blow your mind. I'm telling you,
She's very talented. Yes.
unbelievable. So,
Well, I love the way that she's presented the information. Because for me, I used to see the devil and the hangman is like, oh my goodness, until she shared a little bit differently to go for the devil is where you give it your power away. With that hangman, it's shifting your perception and perspective of seeing things. I'm like, that feels a lot better because anytime I have that card flip over, I was freaking out going, oh, am I going to die? What the? So
you mean she gets complicated? Well, yeah, you could say that the hangman, you're dead, brother.
Yeah, I feel safe. I feel safe.
or the devil one, you got a one-way ticket, boy.
that was scary to me because I was like, man, if you're getting that, and unless you have a different perspective, you start associating those qualities with that energy being, and then you start freaking out. Truly, it's all about the love. It's always good.
You were going to say?
No, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
And I'm glad she got to be here, man. That's awesome.
Her smile is unbelievable. I mean, it's like ear to ear, That's cool.
Yep.
Anyway, getting back on a horse net, we got to do this again. I'm serious. But the next time, I mean, seriously, that we got to have even more people come in. And what I will do, I'll leave this as meetup so we can get everybody on the same screen.
Awesome.
Let's get it. I mean, I have it. So, I mean, let's use it once. Let's see what happens. We'll be really promo the hell out of it so that everybody that really, really wants to be there will be there. You don't need Skype to use the address.
Excellent.
It only connects to you. When you have the address, it connects to me.
Nice.
So, there you go. That'll work out. And then they can talk and everything else. That their names will be on it. You'll know who's who.
Excellent. So let's do that. Let's work on that. Very good. Always good, brother.
Oh, yeah. For those of you who are here listening, and I noticed there was a lot of people here listening, believe it or not. Anyway, you can go to YouTube. You can go to Rumble. Yeah, those videos are going to be there. You can read them. You can seriously listen to them all. Have a good time. There's a lot of good stuff on there. God bless y'all. Bob Charles. Out!